चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मायं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरुन् श्रीयुतापदकमलम् श्रीगुरुन् वैष्णवंश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणा रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं स्वावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगणा ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितंश्च हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपीश गोपिका कान्त राधाकान्त नमोऽस्तुते तप्त काञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानं पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्यं नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवत्युत्तमश्लोकैर्भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। हरे कृष्ण। स वै महाभागवतः परीक्षित् येनापवर्गाख्यम् अदभ्रबुद्धि ज्ञानेन वैयासकीयशब्दितेन वेजे गजेन्द्र ध्वजपादमूलम्। हरे कृष्ण।
Beautiful, Sashwin. Thank you so much, dear. Very nice.
Thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Om Ajnanatimmirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। शृण्वता स्वागता कृष्ण पुण्य श्रवण कीर्तनः कृतयन्तस्तौति भद्राणि विदुनोति सुहृत्सतम् नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। हरे कृष्णा। 1 minute. Okay, so just wanted to kind of get an understanding of what we are doing here. So the first 10 verses talks about Maharaj Parikshit's birth, death, and dealings with Kali. The first 3 verses talk about birth, consciousness, surrender, and death. And the fourth one talks about the glorious death of Parikshit and dedication of Lord's topic and constant remembrance of Krishna. And 5 and 6 talk about the fact that Kali could not flourish in Parikshit Maharaj's reign. And 7 talks about Parikshit saw good quality in Kali, and we saw that in last class, right? And 8 to 10 talk about Kali's ineffectiveness to devotees and importance of Harikatha. 11 and 12 talk about fire sacrifice versus Shravanam. And 13 and 14 discuss about power of association and hearing Krishna Katha. Then 15 talks about qualities of a speaker, hearer, and the subject matter. And 16, no satiation, 16 and 17 talks about the fact that there is no satiation in Shravanam. So this is the concept that we'll be discussing in today's verse. But before that, we again, from 11 to 17, the theme is eagerness of the sages to hear Krishna Katha. How the sages, they are so eager to hear Krishna Katha. Like all of you devotees who hear Krishna Katha every day at this time of the hour, like that, we have, from Srimad Bhagavatam, how the sages of Naimisharanya, they were wanting to hear from Suta Goswami. The eagerness of the sages wanting to hear Krishna Katha. So Shravanam is the main important theme that is being seen in the verses 11 to 17. So now we will continue the elaboration of the purports from where we left off last time. So that's what I do today. I think we left in verse number 9. We will continue from there and go in depth till verse number 16. That is today's verse. Okay. The 10th verse, as I told you, it talks about the fact that Srila Prabhupada says, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, those who are desirous of achieving complete perfection in life must submissively hear all the topics that are connected to the transcendental activities and the qualities of personality of Godhead who acts wonderfully. So all those topics of Krishna Katha, which are actually to be glorified. I mean, obviously we have Lord who acts wonderfully, right? So all the kathas, they glorify Krishna. And for those who desire the greatest welfare, by them, this has to be heard. What has to be heard? Krishna Katha has to be heard. Actually, these kathas are so wonderful that they have to be heard by those who want their own welfare. This is what is being said here. Whoever wants their own welfare, they should start hearing Krishna Katha. So whatever kathas are done, wonderful acts that are done by the Supreme Lord, they speak about what? They speak about great qualities of the Supreme Lord. They speak about great transcendental activities of Supreme Lord. So these are all very, very amazing. Literally, those who want their existence, those who want to live by those who want to, have their existence in life, what they should do? They should hear Krishna Katha. Whatever wonderful activities that Krishna has done, you have to hear it so that you have this existence. And what is this existence used for? That is used for Krishna Katha, hearing Krishna Katha. So that is what is being spoken in verse number 10. Actually, if you want to live, Krishna Katha is the Jivan. It is like a soul for a devotee. If a person doesn't accept Krishna Katha, then one is like a dead person. Even though he's living, he's a dead person. He's like a corpse. He's like a dead corpse. He's like a zombie. Jiva Goswami talks about this. Actually, whatever qualities that are demonstrated, that are performed by Krishna, all the activities of various incarnations of the Supreme Lord, all of them has to be heard. Then, if the incarnations past tense has to be heard, then what about Krishna? He is the avatari. Obviously, we have to hear Krishna's glories. Then what to speak of Supreme Lord Krishna's activities? They all must be heard by devotees. They demonstrate so wonderful activities. So hence we have to hear. So this is what is being talked about. And Srila Prabhupada also says we have to hear it systematically. the qualities, activities, and the names of the Lord as systematically it has to be done. So now, after this 10th verse, what would happen is the Shaunakadi rishis are going to glorify Krishna Katha. The glorification of Krishna Katha by the rishis is going to happen starting from verse number 11, and it goes all the way up to verse number 23. Okay, so this is verse number 10. Now we move on to verse number 11. So here, now, this is another section before Parikshit's story of getting cursed comes up. So obviously, we saw about how important is hearing. And now Shaunakadi rishis, they are saying, Suta Goswami, you know what, Suta, you please live. You please live for many, many years. Please live for eternity. May you live for long. Because actually you are glorifying and speaking. You are describing the glories of the Lord so nicely. You are expanding Krishna's fame. You are expanding Krishna's glories in connection to his devotees. Krishna's and Krishna's devotees are not different, right? The glorification goes on simultaneously. And you're doing so nicely. You're wonderfully glorifying this. You're speaking not only the fame and glory of Krishna, this is actually elixir, amritam to our ears. It is immortal nectar for all mortal beings like us, those who are all going to die. It is an immortal nectar. Whatever you are saying, Krishna Katha, that is immortal nectar. And he's saying, that is why these sages are saying, Suta Goswami, you please live long. It is a blessing that they are giving from their heart. A very honest, a very heartfelt blessing that is coming from their heart. Right? It is not like how they can bless a speaker when they are an audience. These people are also qualified, right? Shaunakadis, they're all extremely qualified. And so this is more of a heartfelt desire that is coming to somebody like a speaker like Suta Goswami. There is Swashti Vachanam even for the Supreme Lord. Swashti for the Supreme Lord. We offer Swashti Vachanam. Meaning, let there be auspiciousness for the Supreme Lord. So that is what, that is not like in the sense of giving blessing to the Lord. It is the sense of our heart, cherished desire for the Lord to always be victorious. May he have all auspiciousness. May he have his glories widespread. Or these are all heartfelt good wishes towards the Supreme Lord. That personality, Supreme Lord, is spoken as Swashti. Swashti Vachanam, we say. So now, like that, these Shaunakadi rishis, they are showing heartfelt blessings. This is what we see. This is what we see in verse number 11. And what about Jiva Goswami? What he says? He also says, in his commentary, you please live long. You be there in this material world, not in the sense of, again, wishing that you stay in this material world. But you're glorifying Krishna so wonderfully that you may live long, deliver personalities like all of us who are all mortals in this world. In that sense, it's being spoken, right? You be there in this material world means why Krishna should be there? To deliver the mortal souls like us. Because he is giving such wonderful Krishna Katha, he just has to live long in this material world. For what? Delivering people. Like mortal beings in this world, you have to deliver. How can people be delivered? Only when Krishna Katha is spoken and when Krishna Katha is heard, people can be delivered. So Suta, you please live long. From Jiva Goswami's commentary. Now, what does Srila Prabhupada say? Srila Prabhupada, he also speaks about the Supreme Lord. He's talking about his acts. When he acts in the human world, human society, in this material world, all his acts are transcendental. For they're all Hare Krishna.
Thanks.
Any questions? Okay.
Oh, sorry, Mataji, that was my mic. Sorry.
Oh, no worries, Mataji, no worries. So now Srila Prabhupada, what does he talk about in verse number 11? He says, the Krishna's acts are all transcendental. They are all attenuated by the spiritual energy of the Lord, which is distinguished from the material energy. He does not act or take birth like an ordinary living being under the custody of material energy. Supreme Lord's Janma and Karma both are transcendental. Anybody who understands this fact, Tyaktva Deham Punat Janma, Naiti Mameti So Arjuna, right? That is what is spoken. So Srila Prabhupada is basically commenting on that. Hearing Krishna's Supreme Lord's Janma and Karma, one will, one will not be hearing that, by hearing that, one will not be conquered by birth and death. Rather, he is going to achieve what? Lord's abode. That is why he is bringing this discussion of Janma Karma Chame Divyam. He says in the purport, his acts, even when he acts in the human society, they are all transcendental, Divyam, for they are associated by spiritual energy of the Lord, which is distinguished from material energy. Thus, he does not act or take birth like an ordinary living being under the custody of material energy, nor his body or change his body. Nor is his body material or changeable like that of ordinary living beings. And one who understands this fact, either from the Lord or from authorized sources, is not reborn after leaving the present body. So this is 11. So what is the theme we saw in 11? The sages of Naimisharanya, they are glorifying Suta Goswami for his glorious Krishna Katha. And through this process, they want the mortal beings such as themselves be delivered. That is why they want Suta Goswami to live in this material world for a long time, so that he can deliver more people like them, which is the intended meaning. Now, verse number 12. So we saw verse number 10, and that is glorifying, Shravanam. And then verse number 11, where the sages of Naimisharanya are glorifying Suta Goswami for his Krishna Katha and blessing him to live long in this material world. Now, number 12, it talks about, let's see. They are saying, we have begun this performance of fruitive activity, a sacrificial fire, without certainty of its result due to many imperfections in our action. Our bodies have become black from the smoke, but we are factually pleased by the nectar of Lord's lotus feet of the personality of Godhead Govinda, which you are distributing. Now, they are thanking Suta Goswami and glorifying Krishna Katha. And you are making us drink. What? You are making us drink this great honey of wonderful qualities or wonderful glories of Lord's lotus feet. They are like lotus. Like lotus has nectar in it, right? Just as the bees, they hanker for that nectar. So similarly, these sages are saying, we are like the bees. We are like that bees, and you're feeding us. You're making us drink this nectar of Lord's Nama, Rupa, Guna, and Lila. You're doing that for us. And in what situation you're doing? The situation when our faces are becoming blackened by the smoke coming out of the sacrificial fire. From this yajna, actually, because of the smoke that is coming up from the sacrifices, obviously they were performing this ritual and their faces were blackened, their body were blackened, everything was blackened. 2-3 hours yajna, if you sit by the yajna kund, you can see the whole smoke coming onto you, right? Completely your body will be tinged with the black particles of smoke. So they are saying our faces are being blackened, our bodies are being blackened by what? By the smoke of these fire sacrifices. In such a situation, then also we are not sure whether this fire sacrifice is going to give or generate any result or not. Yes, because if the fire sacrifice results have to fructify, one thing is they are performing these activities almost at the onset of Kali Yuga. Kali Yuga's faults and all that, there is Kali Yuga, we know if you do fire sacrifice at the age of Kali Yuga, it is going to be full of faults, isn't it? That is why they recommended Harinam Sankirtan is the way to go, because sacrifice, deity worship, this may not work for the age of Kali, which is faulty. So they are saying, so Kali Yuga's faults and all that, they may even the process of fire sacrifice, which is full of faults, And even if there is a slight dosha in the fire sacrifice, this is not going to yield us any results. So that is why they are saying, Toro, there is no certainty we are going to reap the result or not. We are not sure. Who is saying? Shaunakadi rishis are saying to Sutta Goswami, we are performing this fire sacrifice, but we are not sure whether we are going to reap results or not, because Kali is full of faults. So that is why the real sacrifice that is happening here is that you are speaking Krishna Katha. Also, although although the sacrifices are going on, of course the fire sacrifices are going on, but we are not guaranteed that it would generate result. This is what the Shaunakadi rishis were saying. Of course, when it comes to the Shaunakadi rishis, they are all super experts of karmakant. But actually the process of karmakant, the sacrifices, they are tricky. So if we make if there is some chance or some kind of mistake in that, then it will not generate any result. So they are saying, oh Sutta, it's a great thing. You are making us drink this nectar of Lord's glory. So this is the point that they want to make. Now, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakura, what he says. He says for the same commentary number 12, there is no vishwas, there is no guarantee that this sacrifice is going to generate any kind of result. So just as somebody may till a land, sow a seed, but they are not sure till the crops will come or not. Till their crops come, they are not sure. Okay, they till the land, they sow the seed, other factors like rain, they are dependent on it. So the whole effort could be smitten by some doshas. There is a possibility. By some faults, it could be smitten. So that's why, as a farmer, he may sow the seed, but he still cannot guarantee whether that seed will fructify into crops or not. It may so happen that rains may not come. It may so happen that the seeds may not be productive. These are all the doshas that are inherent. There are faults. And because of this multitude of faults, it's being compared like tilling of land and sowing of seeds by a farmer. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakura compares it and explains it like that. He's making a comparison to help us understand this karmakant also may fructify or not. There's no guarantee. By this, they also mean to say that actually bhakti is the only thing that can give you guarantee. Bhakti, it gives you guarantee. That is their point. There's a contrast here, right? Comparison between fire sacrifice and bhakti. Bhakti is giving guarantee in terms of success. Our mind as well as body, that is all getting blackened by this duma. Our body is getting blackened, our chitta. There's some sort of, when you look at our chitta, there's always some sort of distraction when it comes to distraction in Krishna consciousness. Distractions is always there. Again, basically they are saying the body is blackened, but I'm just trying to help you understand that, this blackening, basically the body is blackened by this duma. It's also, because of this, it's also some sort of distraction to them from Krishna consciousness, a distraction from glories. A sacrifice may involve other aspects. So when people take shelter of this fire sacrifice, what is it doing actually? It is actually distracting one from Krishna consciousness, isn't it? This karma, this jnana, all these are distractions from Krishna consciousness, right? Because we understand bhakti alone can do everything. There's no need for any other. Bhakti is independent. Which is the point that our acharyas are trying to tell us. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakura quoted a beautiful example of how tilling the land and sowing the seed may not fructify into a crop. Like that, this fire sacrifice that they are performing, it may not generate its result. But when it comes to bhakti, it will give you success all the time. And the blackening of their body is being compared to what? Blackening of their body is compared to, basically it's saying that all these fire sacrifices and all is a distraction from Krishna consciousness. So taking shelter of Krishna is the best. The glories of Krishna has been compared to that of a fire sacrifice. So now we'll go into Jiva Goswami's commentary. We try to fully try to understand what each of the acharyas are saying along with Srila Prabhupada. This way we get a holistic perspective of all what is being spoken about. Okay, so now with regards to verse number 12, what is Jiva Goswami saying? Here we can understand that apart from Lord's glories, other aspects are there, like karma, all that, what is happening. One side, Shravanam, the glories of Shravanam is being spoken of, right? We saw about holy name, we saw about how Krishna's glories are, how it is transcendental, his janma, karma, and all that we saw. And on the other side, we are seeing the karma aspect, what is happening there. So they are saying, actually without devotional service, just by karma, it is nothing but misery. It's nothing, because without bhakti, they're just trying to say that by just doing karma alone and not having bhakti in the picture is nothing but misery. Okay. But now, because of this Shravanam that we are hearing, right, the glories of Krishna, the hearing, it is practically like you're feeding nectar into our ears. Otherwise, so Sutta Goswami, what we are doing only fire sacrifice. If you are not there to glorify Krishna, and if your glorification of Krishna is not there, then what are we doing? It is only dukkha. Nothing but dukkha. But what you are doing, Sutta Goswami, to us, the sages are saying you are feeding nectar. So just as those who are surrendered on to me, like Krishna, they're, when we surrender on to Krishna, what would happen to us? We are not bewildered by any contamination, right? Even when we do Varnashrama, the main purpose of Varnashrama, if you are following Varnashrama, is to have Krishna in the center. Without Krishna in the center, it is not Varnashrama anymore, right? The point is, our faces are becoming blackened by smoke, and all the limbs are also getting blackened. But these glories of Krishna that you are talking about, Sutta, they are all intoxicating. How they are intoxicating? If one is hearing the glories of the Lord, then the so-called happiness, the misery of the world, they'll be able to forget that. One will just transcend this happiness and dukkha and then go above that platform of dualities. One doesn't experience the happiness and misery of this world anymore. They become absorbed in Krishna's glory that one is able to transcend, and he's not so much affected by it. That's why it is madhu. That's why it's sweet nectar. Just like an intoxicated person, he doesn't understand what is happening to him. Somebody is intoxicated in Krishna Katha, he will also not understand what material misery is and what material happiness is. He will become oblivious to it. So not only he will become oblivious to this material misery and material happiness, but he'll also be able to constantly taste this nectar of Krishna's Nam, Rupa, Guna and Leela. That is why it is compared to Madhu. Constantly he will be able to taste it. Just as somebody who's intoxicated, he also wants to constantly drink. Similarly, these personalities, Sutta Goswami, they are constantly helping us taste this nectar of Krishna Katha. That is what is the point of the Shaunakadi Rishis. And Prabhupada says, like the sacrificial fires, they are there. There are, he talks about the discrepancy is there, meaning expert Brahmanas are not there in Kali Yuga now. So that is why the results are uncertain. Whether you will get a result from fire sacrifice or not is uncertain, because there is no good Brahmanas, right? Like that he's speaking. But Sutta Goswami was making him drink the nectar of Lord's lotus feet by talking about his Krishna's transcendental acts. One can feel this practically as one can feel the result of eating food. Spiritual realization is like that. Like eating food, you can realize spirituality also. Bhagavatam also says that. So just as one gets nourishment by eating food, if one is able to hear Krishna Katha, he feels nourished because his anchoring for material things goes away. And then Prabhupada quotes Brahma Vaivarta Puran, where he says, Lord Vishnu tells the age of Kali is full of anxieties of various kinds of people. And again, he also talks about the fact that, okay, there are anxieties in Kali Yuga, but when you engage in devotional service, then you are sure to attain your result. And there is no loss of energy. Like that, Srila Prabhupada says. Then verse number 13. Verse number 13, it's basically about a very, very nice purport that Srila Prabhupada also has. So now he says in the translation, O Sutta Goswami, you are a learned pure devotee of the Lord, because the personality of Godhead is your chief object of service. Therefore, please describe to us the pastimes of the Lord, which are above the material conception, for we are anxious to receive such messages. So they are saying, oh, you know what? See, the sages are saying to Sutta, you are such a learned person. You have Krishna as the object of service. So that is why we want you to describe the pastimes of the Supreme Lord. And we are really very anxious to hear it from you. So now the point here is even a moment's association, Bhagavat Sangi Sangasya, a moment's association with a devotee who's a pure devotee, we should, that association is so great that we should not compare such an association with that devotee to Swarga. We should not compare it to Moksha. We should not compare to the heavenly planets, that the pleasure that we receive from the heavenly planets, we should not compare that moment's association with the Bhagavat Sangi. That association is the best of all. So what to speak of the benedictions that this world has to offer, like Indra, Indra Bhog, the Janam, Sundarim, whatever, so many things are there, this material, Janam, Sundarim, Sukha, Vitam, so much this material world, name, fame, glory, Indra Bhog, Swarga Sukh, so much is there. If Swarga and Moksha cannot be even compared to a moment's association with a devotee, then what to speak of this worldly benedictions? They are all definitely insignificant. When I say, okay, Swarga, you can't even compare the pleasures of Swarga to the moment's association with the pure devotee, then I say, oh, Moksha, even the Moksha, which everybody hankers for, that also cannot be compared to the moment's association with the pure devotee of the Lord. Then what to speak of other worldly benedictions, like Indriya Bhog, Danam, Janam, Sundarim? What about all this? Absolutely, they are insignificant when you compare it with a moment's association with a devotee. 1 minute here. Today is the working day for me. All right. Now, Vishnu Chakravarti Thakura, he also writes a beautiful purport to this. He says, the great glory of receiving sadhu sangha, right? Receiving association of personality, association of a pure devotee, it's nothing but you receive fortune. By getting association, we are able to experience the greatness of sadhu sangha. Meaning, we have received, see, they are the Sutta Goswamis, the 9 sages of Naimisharanya are saying, we have received a great association of a devotee like you. You are like an ocean. So this great association this is what we have received. The great association can be compared to that of what? Oceanic opulence of an association that we have received. Such is the glorification of these Shaunakadi rishis. We have received such an association of you, Sutta Goswami. So then they are saying, oh, because we understood the glory of such association, this association, the moment's association with a devotee, it cannot be even compared to Swarga. It cannot, Swarga is what? It is the fruit of karma path. And moksha is the fruit of what? Jnana path. So we cannot compare the fruits of karma and jnana to a moment's association. Just one moment's association with a pure devotee cannot be compared to this. So now if you look at sadhu sangha, what it does, it actually causes the sprouting of the creeper of devotional service, isn't it? Which is very rare. That is why sadhu sangha cannot be compared to karma phala and jnana phala. Because karma or jnana, what will happen? The bhakti seeds, they get sprouted, the seeds get generated within the heart. And what will happen? Because of that, we are going to achieve the highest prayojan, which is prema. Can prema be achieved by karma or jnana? No. The fruit of karma and jnana cannot give prema. That is why this sadhu sangha is glorious. What it does to us, it sprouts this creeper of devotional service, which is parama durlabha bhakti. It's very hard. It's very rare. That bhakti, when it gets sprouted in the heart, the eventual prayojan is prema. Can karma phala and jnana phala get to prema? Lead us to prema? No. So the association of sadhus will generate that seed of bhakti, which is greater than all these things like moksha and all that. Sadhu Sangha is the sadhana of bhakti. Sadhu Sangha, you receive bhakti. It's not like, obviously, by just bhakti sadhana, the sadhana bhakti has to grow. We have these different stages, right? We have to go through these stages and finally attain prema as the goal. Bhakti has to grow. So Sadhu Sangha is an instrument that will generate bhakti. Receiving Sadhu Sangha itself, you have not achieved perfection in bhakti. Okay, that should not be confused. And receiving Sadhu Sangha itself, if it has so much benefits, then what to speak about fruit of bhakti, which is ultimate prayojan? What to speak of prema, the love of Godhead? Sadhu Sangha, it will help generate this fruit of bhakti, that is love of Godhead. So Sadhu Sangha, it cannot be compared, that Sadhu Sangha cannot be compared to the fruit of karma or fruit of jnana. What to speak of fruit of bhakti itself? So this is what we need to understand. This is the glory of Sadhu Sangha. What to speak if Sadhu Sangha is prolonged for some time? We see moments association. What about if it prolongs? You have taken great Sadhu Sangha, prolonged association of great sadhus. That cannot be even compared. The prolonged association, and what about serving those people who are pure devotees of the Lord? What about that? It cannot be compared. So this the person, if he has to get to bhakti, right? What is the requirement? It is sadhu's association which gives us bhakti, isn't it? This person who gets into bhakti path, he gets because why? Faith gets generated into his heart. Then he thinks, oh, I need to serve the sadhu because he's the one who's instilled the service attitude in me. So when he starts serving, he gets more mercy, and top of it, his sadhana builds up. So then the whole process of devotional service kicks in, right? So this is the glory. Here Vishnu Chakravarti Thakura is helping us understand the gradation. Meaning, he's saying, what to speak, not only he has accepted devotional service, but he has achieved prema, which is the bhakti phala. That's like a final thing. A moment's association itself, you're saying it will give you great benefit. But what about prema? It is a final thing that you get, isn't it? What about the glory of that? You cannot compare that. Then he says, oh, okay, one moment's association. Then what about prolonged association? How much it can give you benefit? If one moment's association it itself can give you so much benefit, then what about prolonged association with the sadhus? How much benefit it can give? So like this, he helps us to understand how much beneficial is the sadhu sangha, right? So you cannot have this comparison. It is impossible to compare the phal of karma and jnana to the phal of bhakti, which is the highest. No, the bhakti phal cannot be compared to this karma phal and jnana phal. You cannot even compare. That much glorious. So like this, he talks about verse number 12. Vishnu Chakravarti Thakura helps us understand the gradations to say that, this is so glorious. And then Jiva Goswami also has written a very short commentary. Then he says, Jiva Goswami says, this comparison of karma, all this should not even be done. There's no possibility of this comparison. This possibility should not be even entertained, he says. Tulyamala Venapi. So he says, oh, you just cannot even compare what you have in terms of, you cannot make a comparison of karma phal, jnana phal, bhakti. No, don't even go that route. It's not worth comparing. Because bhakti is such a glorious thing. Sadhu Sangha is such a glorious thing. It cannot even be compared. Then Prabhupada also, he addresses many points in his purport. He talks about so many different things. you cannot compare a Meru and a mustard seed like that. Prabhupada makes this point. The Lord aspires after neither the happiness obtained in the heavenly kingdom nor liberation from material bondage. In fact, they consider it like Akasha Pushpa, phantasmagoria. So Prabodhananda Saraswati also praised that. So heavenly planets is considered like phantasmagoria. That's why there are these components of pleasures and distress. How about Mukti? He brings up this point that Mukti is also nothing in front of Sadhu Sangha. Prabhupada says devotional service is eternal because there is no end to it. There is no comparison between these two. That's what he says finally, to say that, okay, we cannot even compare what we have received. Devotional service is eternal, it has no end, it is spiritual. Therefore, since the assets of pure devotee are completely different from material assets, there is no comparison between the two. And Sutta Goswami, he was a pure devotee of the Lord, and thus for the sages of Naimisharanya, the value of association was unique, incomparable to any, this moment's association for them, they were having prolonged association with Sutta Goswami. So it is incomparable. When we compare it against Karma Phal, all this, it's not at all comparable, because it's much more. What they have received in terms of benefits is much more, and it cannot be comprehended, which is what Prabhupada talks about in his purport for number 13. So now I have 10 minutes, but yeah, so these are all what we have heard so far. 14th verse, if you look at it, it is also a beautiful verse. Here, I just don't want to take a long time, but here Prabhupada says the personality of Godhead Govinda, he is the exclusive shelter for all living beings, and his transcendental attributes cannot be measured by even Lord Shiva and Brahma. Can anyone who is an expert in relishing nectar can ever be fully saturated hearing the topics about him? So the main point that is being talked about here is, first we have glorified Sadhu Sangha. So previous verse we saw, okay, here, Sadhu Sangha is so glorious. And you've already got the taste now, right? Because you got Sadhu Sangha, you now have a great taste to hear Krishna Katha also. So by glorifying it and asking more and more, so the thing is, now you've heard Krishna Katha, but are you going to be satisfied after hearing Krishna Katha? No, you're going to want to hear more and more. There is not going to be any satiation. Unlike the material world, there are some things that we discuss here, right? At home, we discuss about some material things, material concepts and all that. After a point, there will be satiation. But to spiritual topics, you keep hearing the qualities of the Lord. There is no end to it. You don't also get bored. You're never satiated by Lord's glories. Krishna, Krishna has variety of pastimes. And even if you hear the same pastimes, there will be so much revelations that are happening. New things get revealed to you. And it's never satiating. If it is satiating, that means we have a lot of offenses in us which needs rectification. If we are getting satiation by hearing Krishna Katha, which means there is some problem within us. We need to be, because we are tinged by the modes. Sometimes we are rajasic, we are in passion. Passion means we are looking out for what is there in this material world, which I can do some exciting things. So you are occupied by your mode of passion, because of which you deviate and go in the other direction. But Lord's qualities are such that they can never be satiated. If you are completely purified at heart, you will never be satiated. Like Parikshit Maharaj, I cannot forget this particular statement. So in the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, you will hear the point of Parikshit Maharaj. See, Parikshit Maharaj, he got, obviously he got cursed from Shringi. Why? Because he happened to put a snake on Shamik Rishi, and because he was thirsty and he wanted some water from Shamik Rishi, and Shamik Rishi did not respond, he cursed, he happened to put a dead snake on him. But Parikshit Maharaj is saying in the 10th canto, oh, Sukadev Goswami, don't think I am going to be hungry or thirsty for either food or water. No, I'm not going to be hungry or thirsty either for food or water. Why? Because I want to hear Krishna Katha from your lotus mouth. Only when you stop telling Krishna Katha, only when you stop speaking Krishna Katha, will my hunger and thirst be provoked. Because that time, I don't have any other nectar to get myself absorbed in. When you stop that, then there will be a problem. I'll get into anxiety. But if you don't stop it, you should not break. You should not give any pause in between. No, I really don't want any pause from you. Because hearing this nectar, I'm fully satiated. I'm fully, I'm fully relishing it. I mean, he's not satiated, of course. He wants to hear more and more. And that too, he's comparing it to what had happened to him before. Because he thinks, oh, my master Sukadev Goswami will think that I may need a break and he may pause. And he doesn't want Sukha to pause. So he's saying, please don't pause, Krishna Katha. Only when you pause, I will get hunger and thirst. Otherwise, I will not. So this is the mood of Parikshit Maharaj. Every syllable of Srimad Bhagavatam is heard by him. So here, what is being talked about? Lord's glories are so endless that even Brahma and Shiva cannot, even Brahma and Shiva, they are such great personalities. They are that experts. They cannot measure your qualities and pastimes. This is the glory of Krishna. So much glories and qualities he has that it cannot be comprehended. Unlimited qualities he has, so one may not be able to measure it or reach it to say, yeah, I have understood all of Lord's qualities, like that. Okay, so now we will go on to verse number 16. Verse number 16. So in verse number 15, beautiful point on qualities of speaker, hearer, and subject matter are being spoken about. That was just yesterday's verse, right? The personality of the speaker, hearer. Hearer has to be very eager to hear, and subject matter has to be about Lord's magnanimous and pure pastimes. And then the speaker, his object of service has to be Lord Krishna. That is the qualification in brief. Now we are moving on to the 16th verse, which says, Parikshit Maharaj attained Lord's lotus feet by hearing the Lord's topics spoken by Sukadev Goswami. So, since Parikshit Maharaj attained this, attained the Lord by hearing Lord's topics, we also want to do the same. The Shaunakadi Rishis, see, the conversation is happening between who and who? Shaunakadi Rishis are talking to Suta Goswami. Suta Goswami is whom they are hearing from, the Shaunakadi Rishis. So now, here in the 16th purport, it is being said that we also, like how Parikshit Maharaj heard from Sukha and he attained Lord's abode, like that, we also want to hear from you, Sutta, so we can also attain Lord's abode. So please describe Lord's pastime to us. So here, that is what is the intent of verse number 16. So very important point here, devotees, as you can see in the purport of Srila Prabhupada. So first we'll go to the translation. He says, O Suta Goswami, please describe those topics of the Lord by which Lord Parikshit, whose intelligence was fixed on liberation, attained the lotus feet of the Lord, who is the shelter of Garuda, the king of birds. These topics are vibrated by the son of Vyasa, Srila Sukadev Goswami. Now, Srila Vishnu Chakravarti Thakura talks about it to say that, see, here this word Jnana Mokshena is used in this verse, right? So Jnana Mokshena, does it mean Jnana? No, that is what he clarifies to say that they want to hear about Lord's glories only. So it is not Lord, it is not nothing to do with Jnana and Moksha, but it is to do with hearing the glories of the Lord and attaining Lord's abode. So that is the clarification which is made by Vishnu Chakravarti Thakura. So Mayavadis, they may use this word to their advantage to say, yeah, Jnanena, the Jnanena is used, Moksha. So like that, they will try to obviously say, oh yeah, you would attain liberation through the process of Jnana, something like that. But here there is a clarification, an objection is raised to say that, we are talking about hearing about Lord's glories, and Lord's glories will eventually lead a person to attain the Lord's lotus feet. which is what is the intent of the words that Prabhupada clarifies. And he also makes a beautiful point to say, see, a lot of cases we have seen, lot of cases we have seen where the impersonalists, when they come in the association of devotees, they become bhaktas. But we don't see a bhakta becoming an impersonalist, right? Which is the point that Srila Prabhupada talks about in his purport, to say there are many instances when impersonalists became devotees. Like our own Mahaprabhu, he converted Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, Prakashananda, Madhusudan Saraswati. So like that, so many, he converted so many impersonalists into Vaishnavas. Which is what, of course, our dear Sukha, right? How he got attracted when he heard the verses from Srimad, how Bakiyam. When he heard it, how he became turned into a devotee, even though he was an impersonalist. So this is helping us understand that the glory of bhakti is far superior to any other process. And this verse, of course, can be used by the Mayavadis in a different context, and hence, our acharyas are raising a point to say that, here, we are talking about bhakti yoga, and this apavarga means attaining the Lord's lotus abode. I mean, attaining the Lord's lotus feet. That is apavarga. Parikshit achieved apavarga. Did Parikshit go get moksha or what? No. Parikshit achieved apavarga means he attained Lord's lotus feet by hearing Krishna Katha. Did he follow? I mean, Jnana Mokshina, did he follow? I mean, the impersonalists may try to, obviously do some word jugglery on this, but our acharyas are clarifying the point is to say that hearing the glories of our Lord is our jnanam, and attaining the Lord's lotus feet is our moksha. That has been shown by Parikshit Maharaj. So they are saying, please, that's why you expand, you Sutta Goswami, you should expand on the glories of the Lord so that we can hear about the glories of the Lord. And thereby, at the end, we attain apavarga, which is the Lord's lotus feet, like how Parikshit attained the Lord's lotus feet, we also want to achieve. Hope this helps, dear devotees. These are the two things that needed to be clarified as far as verse number 16 goes. Hope I made it clear. So let's just end the call now. But yeah, before that, Vancha Kalpatarubhyasya Kripa Sindhubhyev cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namaha. Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrinda ki jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to all of you on the call. All dear Vaishnavas. Hare Krishna. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Mataji, for the wonderful class. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
So I guess you can. There seems to be no host today. But
Okay.
if there's anyone with any questions about the class, please, it is the time to ask.
Thank you very much, Hare Krishna. Thank you for the wonderful class. Just a very, very silly observation. First of all, thank you for taking us through the summary. I missed quite a few sessions this week, so it was really nice to be able to go through all of that again. We were talking about the attainment of the karmis, the perfection of karma yoga. They go to heaven, or the heavenly planets, and that of the yogis, they merge into the Brahma Jyoti. Now, but in the heavenly planets, we also see the devotees, don't we? So are we to say that yes, the heavenly planets, yes, you can just go there by a lot of materialistic piety, but perhaps a bit of devotional service is also required to be able to go there, because all the demigods, they are all in the heavenly planets, and if not all of them, but most of them are good devotees of the Lord, aren't they? Sorry, this is a very silly question, but just thought.
Mataji, I couldn't understand the last part. So the demigods are there in the heavenly planets. So why wouldn't be why it would not be a good idea for us to go there? Is that the question?
Yeah, so the demigods are there. So then the heavenly planets, they are a combination of karmis who have perfected karma yoga, but also devotees. So I mean, so just a kind of I'm not really sure if it's a proper question or not. Perhaps just a comment, Mataji, just that the heavenly planets is a combination of both devotees and you know, beings who have perfected karma yoga. Am I right in saying that, Mataji?
Yeah. So the fruit of karma, when you perfect that karma yoga process, the fruit of it is swarga. And when it comes to Swarga or any heavenly planet for that matter, the problem is, Mataji, we have so much opulence there, and this opulence those people who are there on the heavenly planets, they're all mixed devotees of the Lord for the most part. Unless you know, somebody comes in the association of devotees and they have perfected their lives and they have become pure devotees of the Lord, which is very rare. Most of them are all mixed devotees. Mixed devotees means they have material desires. Because of the opulence that is present in the heavenly planets, they have a tinge of material desire, and because of which they are mixed. They are not pure. Pure means anya abhilashita shunyam jnana karmadi anavritam anukulyena krishnanushilanam bhakti rutama. So that pureness is definitely not there in them because of the opulence that is seen in the heavenly planets. They are not able to devote their time 100% to Krishna. This pure devotee, he has nothing but only Krishna. He wants to do hanker, serve, endeavor, everything for Krishna only he does. None of the time is spent on karma, jnana and all that. So that is the definition of pure devotion. So these people who are there in the heavenly planets are not in that level yet. Hope that helps. But you know, in rare cases, there could be perfected devotees in the heavenly planets also, and that is only possible because they have come in the association of pure devotees, because of which they started doing what pure devotion says, hankering for Krishna and doing the service for Krishna and all that. But that is very rare. And as you said, the karma fal, the fruit of karma is the heavenly planets. That's why people perform karma yoga so that their desire to go to Swarga gets fulfilled. You are correct, Mataji.
Yes,
Hope that
thank you
helps.
so much. Yes, we see so many examples throughout the Bhagavatam about so many demigods falling and then being and then asking for forgiveness from the Lord because they have forgotten to be pure devotees. So thank you, Mataji. Yeah.
Correct. Yeah. Thank you, Mataji.
There any other questions? I think it's really wonderful, Mataji, that the way you mentioned that just by a moment's association with a devotee, one can benefit a lot. So simply by extending such a moment or by wanting to serve a devotee, or how much more benefit one can get. As you said, Jiva Goswami says it's not even comparable. So
Yeah, he
yeah,
says don't even compare or go that route. Not worth comparing.
mm, so it's wonderful. It's very inspiring, and we can try to learn this in our lives and be better devotees. Thank you so much for giving your time, Mataji.
Sure.
Always in the weekends and giving valuable time to teach us more and to enlighten us more. We thank you so much, and we are always looking forward to your wonderful sessions. So
All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
I'll request all the devotees to please unmute and let's chant the Hare Krishna mantra glorification of her grace, Radhika Kasturi Mataji. So please let's chant. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
Hare
Hare Rama, Hare Rama,
Rama,
Rama
Rama,
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 Hare
Hare
Hare.
Hare.
Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa
Kripasindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha.
Srila Prabhupada ki,
Jai.
Grace Radhika Kasturi Mataji ki.
All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji.